Hello and welcome to DM&D chat here on here in the Temple Takered. I am Jim, aka Argent Winnie. I'll be your host today, along with my amazing producer there, Nance,
Hi
and our
guys.
fellow leader in the tavern. Um, Today we're talking about how to the next generation, how to bring kids into the game, and some great ways to do it there, and some things to watch out for, some ways to kind of bring them in without scaring them off or making it not fun. Um, and I want to point out here, this is going to be like it could be like teenagers, it could be little kids, it could be
hmm
how you do this will really depend on the age of your age of your players. Um, so how careful you need to be, or what kind of things you can bring in, will depend on who they are.
Right.
Um, Now I've run a game for a bunch of teenagers. At the time, it was ages like 13 to 16, I think it was my age range. I know you've run some games for younger folks.
I
How young
did.
were yours?
Our youngest was 7, all the
Okay.
way up to 13. So like mine hit just at teenage age,
Yeah.
right? And let me tell you, I know grown adults who are murder hobos. These kids take the cake when
Yeah.
but put a puppy dog in there and they're all about finding that puppy dog and how do they make it their friend because that was the most important thing to them at
Yes.
that time, right?
hmm Designing encounters, there's going to be different things that are going to appeal to them, different types of encounters. Um, One thing I kind of like to think about is easing into the kind of enemies they fight.
hmm
There are some types of enemies that make great initial encounters because A, they may not be quite as deadly. They also may not be quite as like a goblin to a little kid could be something bad. It could be something cute and funny. It could be something that like but the fact is, they're also a living creature, and if you and again, you may have some murder hobos,
hmm
but you also have made kids like I don't want to hurt him,
Right.
so. Yeah, so you never know. So some great initial enemies to throw at your players, your little players.
hmm
Undead,
Yep.
zombies and skeletons breaking apart into bones, collapsing into heaps. Totally fine. No one's going to worry about killing something that's already dead. Constructs. Uh, Now you don't want like cute little robot constructs, but like little statues or little like clay golems or something like that they could beat up there. You kind of break off a piece or it falls into chunks or whatever as it goes. Um, those make some good things in there. Oozes. Yeah, I mean oozes can be fun, but they're also one of the things that can also there's it can be some interesting encounters and avoiding them maybe more in the situation rather than getting in there trying to defeat them or kill them or squish them or flatten them. Um, Sometimes it might just be like, how do we get away from this thing or how do we get around it?
Right.
Um, the last one I'm gonna put out here is summoned creatures because they just go poof
Mm.
when you destroy them. There's no blood and gore. There's no whatever else that if they're summoned creatures, then they know that there's no harm, no foul on getting rid of them.
Right.
Um, so, are there any other types of like encounter creatures that you kind of I tend to try to avoid things that are cute because
Yeah.
they're either going to want to adopt it
hmm
or they're definitely not going to want to hurt it.
Right.
So if they're being attacked by wolves, well, they better be mangy, disgusting, bone-ridden, like slavering wolves. And then, okay, there's something wrong with these guys. We need to put them out of their misery.
Right.
Um,
Right.
yeah, but yeah, if
So
it's cute, don't put it in front of a kid.
no. We did a dragon. It's a green dragon, so it's one of the weaker versions of the dragon.
Sure,
Because we did Lost Mines of Fandelver, so like we
sure.
had that. Um, but mine, the stats were very much lowered.
hmm
Right? I didn't want to make it too difficult for them because again,
Right.
we're talking about kids who this is their first game. They don't really know how to role play. They don't really know how to add up click clack dice and do the thing that they should be doing, right? So it and because we're playing virtually, it's not like I can go and point out on their character sheet other than, hey, if you push the button that looks like this, it does the thing for you. So when we were fighting the dragon, it was dumbed down. We fought um, ghouls, which
Okay.
again also dumbed down, but it's in the same area of undead, and we had a paladin, so it gave that paladin the ability to feel special because they could do the
Yes.
thing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I had I threw 6 or 8 um little skeletons at him
Mm-hmm.
for the archer who had volley.
Yeah.
The spell, she's like, I want to do the thing. I'm like, okay, but all right, go do the thing. We all know that if your ally is standing next to the monster and you cast volley, it's also going to hit your ally. But with little kids, maybe it doesn't.
Yeah.
Maybe you
Yeah, those
just
tactical decisions may not quite be there, so you forgive him those little things that the fireball will go around them or what else
right.
that, and so,
It's the
and
special wizard that picked up the right class, right? Because
or the fun thing of, like, having, like, okay, give them a little bit of a hint in that, okay, yeah, you didn't get hit by an arrow, but one of them went through your cloak and one of them stuck into your hat.
hmm
Like,
hmm
you got singed by the fireball and your cloak's kind of, you had to put your cloak out because the end of it's on fire, but you're not taking damage. So the idea
right.
of, like, oh, I may not want to be standing so close to that, or I better not fire that spell into a group because I might hit my friend.
hmm
Um, so having that thing of, like, showing the consequences, but not punishing them for it exactly. Now they keep
right.
doing it over and over and over again, then you can start saying, "Hey, don't forget this will hit your friend if they're in the way there, and he got lucky this time, but he may not be so lucky next time, and he might take some damage." So
Right.
that way they start thinking tactically as they go along here, saying, "Oh, I may not, I want to throw that first, then we can run in and take out the guys." And so,
Exactly.
like, don't be quite so punishing with their tactical decisions. Because the thing is, even if you're thinking technically, hey, there's a group of people, I got a fire that hit the group of people. Great, do it. That's that's the kind of thing we're thinking of. Is like I'm going to move myself or target something that's going to actually do a big thing based on this cool ability that I have. Yeah, and yeah, designing encounters that help showcase those abilities. You got a
hmm
cleric or a paladin, having a way to turn undead is an awesome thing for those guys to, like, I got the cool thing. Um, as a rogue, being able to sneak attack and do those extra damage to something and
hmm
take things down and stealth around. Having them open locks and find traps.
Yep.
Again, dumbing it down so it's not quite so difficult, and you don't want to have like super high DCs, but like,
Right.
hey, as a rogue, don't forget you can do that. Remember, like, do you want to look for something, like, or you just say, hey, as you come up to the door, you see something weird poking out from the lock. What is that? And
Mm.
is that a trap? Oh, I should look that. So again, you want to, like, encourage them to use those abilities and find ways to showcase those special talents their characters have.
The
Um,
one I did for the ranger because we went into the mines first and they found
mhm.
the puppies, the wolves that are with them.
Mhm.
I said, all right, you can have one, but I will control the token and what it can do, but you get to tell it what to do
Sure.
because it's part of the beast mastery, right? But trying to
Right.
tell at the time it was a 9-year-old how to control two characters when they could barely control their own, right?
Right.
So she got to name it, she got to tell it where it was going, who it was attacking. She would come up with special moves that would, like, she would shoot the arrow, the wolf would catch it and then hit it with it. I'm like, that's not logistically sound, but whatever, you're having fun, so I'm having
Or
fun.
the cool thing is, like, oh, hey, you missed, so now that Wilto is going to help you and give you advantage and roll again.
Oh,
I
right.
mean, yeah.
It
So
was it was
yeah,
fun. It was fun.
yeah,
They're
that's great. That's great.
little kids are great. Some of their tactics though are like you look at it and you say, "Huh, would that work in an adult setting? Could I get away with that?" No, because it's very childish, and unless you're
Yeah,
playing that type of character, it really wouldn't work.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I did
Um,
also include, like, when you started with us in your campaign,
mhm,
it was describe how you want to do the thing and then roll the dice. It ended up not
mhm,
being that way, but we
yeah,
caught on eventually a little bit later on, but that's kind of where I was going with them. Tell me what you want to do
mhm,
and let's see if the dice will let you do that. And if
yeah,
not, I'll come up with something else and we'll see what it actually does.
yep,
And
yeah.
they
Tell
immediately went to, it's a magic 8 ball. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
totally. That's exactly what it is.
It's
Yep.
the best
In fact,
analogy.
Magic 8 Ball, actually, what's in the Magic 8 Ball is a D20.
Yep. Yep.
It's just, hey, hey, Dallas here. Yay, cool, cool.
Hmm.
Cool. So, um, that brings up a really good point. Is that the kids' tactical decisions are going to be off the wall.
Hmm.
Let them. Let them come up with those goofball ideas there, and don't just like squash them. Like let them try the weird thing. Let them think there, and then the idea of like describing your actions again. Tell me what you want, what your intent is. Like I want to do this, and then roll the dice to see if it works, and then I'll describe if it doesn't, or if it does, or if it does really well. I'll describe how well it works,
Hmm.
and kind of how I like to do things there. So that way, um, you want to encourage that out of the box thinking, and that just like I'm not like I run up and swing my sword. I run up and shoot an arrow. I like that's fine too, but
Hmm. Hmm.
what are you aiming for? What are you trying to what part of the person are you trying to hit?
Yep.
What are you like like there's two people. How do you want to position yourself so that the so that they're
Hmm.
well, I want to hit this guy and put him between me and the other guy here, and then I
Hmm.
want to shove him back into the other guy. Cool, let's try that.
Yep.
Um,
I had a
so
ranger.
yeah,
She critted. She didn't know what a crit was. But
sure.
she critted. She said, "I shoot an arrow at that guy, and holy crap, that's a lot of damage." I'm like, "Yeah, it really is." But as it's flying through the air, it's got so much power behind it. It literally splits in two, and it hits both of the monsters sitting right
Hmm.
there. And she literally went, "Is that even a thing? Are we allowed to do that?" And I went, "Yeah,
You can
absolutely.
call it out that way. Yeah, yeah,
It's your
yeah,
game, it's my game,
yeah,
and the rules don't really dictate how we play. It's just a guideline."
yeah, yeah. And what's interesting is I will say, having played my first couple sessions of Daggerheart, it very much allows for that because you really like you can describe your action, run in, make the test, and like it really it's not like you can just say, oh, this is I run up and do this. Like no, you can get all kinds of crazy with it. So
Mhm. Mhm.
like with your character and how in different styles. We have a character who's very much like this crystalline character who's able to sort of like move super fast for a split second. So he's like, "Can I teleport?" I'm like, "No, probably more like you can kind of leave a trail behind as you move there." So he's doing this crazy little like zipping around stuff there, Dragon Ball Z kind of moves. Where I'm playing a big dragonborn like uh thing there and just kind of beating up things with a magical gauntlet on. You just punch things and throw things and smash things, and so it's fun.
Yep.
um, but again, yeah, getting to describe, think of it in terms of a movie or a comic book.
Mhm.
What are you trying to do? How does it look when you do it? Because it's better just like I roll that dice and I roll some damage, and it's like that's not really fun in a role playing game.
Right.
Um, Um, so, how much did you use puzzles? Did you use puzzles a lot with your there?
Um, I wouldn't say it was a puzzle, but I have found a website outside of the VTT that you can bring into the VTT that's a slidey puzzle,
Okay.
right? And they did the slide puzzle, and when I realized that they were struggling with it, I had one that was
Yeah.
like two or three steps away that was already finished. And I said, "Look, because you guys are all doing different puzzles, look, somebody's already got to this point." Nobody really knew who had gotten to that point. They didn't ask each other either. And they were, "Oh, okay, but like, what if you move this one that way and this one that way and that one that way?" It finishes it, and then it created the picture of the dragon, the green one
Sure.
that they were gonna go face. So uh, simple, easy puzzles,
Hmm.
yes. The traps were the ones that I was hung up on the most, right? Because I knew I had a rogue, and I knew I wanted them to find the things. For adults, you can set the DC at a DC 15 at level 12, and they should be able to hit it. At
Sure.
level 3, the DC is at 10 or 12, and it's a harder DC to hit at level 3, but adults aren't going to get mad when they can't find it,
Yeah.
right? But kids, on the other hand, when they don't hit it and they know there's something there because you asked them the question and they didn't find it, they tend to get a little bit upset.
Yeah.
So
So
it's
tip, yeah, I always tried. So puzzles and traps for me with my kids and younger players with that is I never like just said, "Here it is, solve it." It was more just like, "Here's the situation. Here's what's going on here. What do you do to bypass this?" Or if it's a trap situation of like, okay. There's you go to work in there and you see there's something stuck in the lock there. It looks kind of shiny. There's something kind of there. Oh, it's like a needle. Yeah, probably. How do I get the thing out of there? Well, you can make a test or just tell me what you do and that'll make it easier.
right.
Like you want to roll the dice, well, it's DC 15. If you give me a really good idea of how you would want to fix it, like, no, I'm gonna like I think the kiddo basically just like I'm gonna put something in there and force it to go out, knowing it's there. I'm gonna spring the lock and then pry the thing out of there. I'm like, okay, you got dice useful for that.
Hmm.
That's going to be a DC 12 or DC 10. And make that test to make sure you handle it carefully and don't pick yourself on the needle when you're trying to pull it out there. But there you go. Like, can I keep it? Like, sure, you wrap it up and put it in your bag. You can have a poison needle to use later on there. And they
Right.
did.
Hmm. Yep.
So, like, so it's again, it's when they give you a good idea, reward them for it. Make it easier.
Exactly.
Make it, and for your puzzles, I try to go very open ended. Like, there's a lot of different solutions for this. One of
Hmm.
my favorite puzzles is like they were in a room that had a fountain that kept like bubbling water and stuff like that, and things like that. And there were these like little, um, there were these little like cups at the door, like
Okay.
across the room, like 15 feet away. Like, well, how can we get the like? Oh, we need to get the water into that thing, right? Okay, well, try it. See how you get the water in there. And they're like, well, wait. They're like, so they put it in a cup and take the cup over there. And I'm like, as soon as the water gets a foot away from there, it disappears. Like, what?
Mm.
That's weird. And like,
Is
and
it though?
so they realized they had to actually like one person like I'm gonna cup the water in my hand and bring it over, and it worked. And they're like,
Oh, see, they're smarty
oh,
smart.
see, and so like, but they're like, but only a little bit gets in there, and it doesn't. It's gonna take you a long time to fill it up this way. And then it leads to think of like, okay, suddenly something starts coming out of the walls over here. A little gas starts consuming the walls here. You got to time. It's like, and like then I give them a timer of like, okay, you have 5 minutes to figure this out. So I've set a timer for them.
Hmm.
Like, okay, what do we do? We do. And so someone got the idea of like, I'm gonna put my face in there, I'm gonna suck up a whole bunch of water there, and then spit it into the cup. Like,
I mean,
it didn't leave your hand, it didn't leave your body, so they had still contact with the person, so it
mhm.
worked. And so like that's a hilarious way to go there. So yeah, they all like stuck their faces in there and then like went spit into the cup there. I'm like, okay, cool.
I don't know that
Like
I would have chosen that option, but yeah,
sure. Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, it was the solution for it was like something they had to do in order. Like, I think one person realized that, oh, wait a minute, I have shape water or whatever, a cantrip.
Hmm.
They went, I'm just going to make a little arc of the water from here to go to there. And I'm like, that's a really cool idea. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so yeah, you could like they're spitting the water in there, and you just go ahead and finish off the last third of the way up there by arcing some water over there with your cantrip there, and psh, there it goes.
Hmm.
Like, okay, cool. So, um,
May not
yeah,
be
it's
how the spell reads, but it's the
yeah,
rule of cool, right? Oh,
yeah, exactly.
I love DMing with the rule of cool. It's just it makes it more fun for everybody because then when I
Hmm.
come down with the big old boss and I'm like, "Hey, rule of cool," it comes down and knocks everybody prone just because he came down out of nowhere, right?
Hmm.
It doesn't do anything detrimental, doesn't hurt them, it doesn't stifle their creativity, and it lets
Yeah.
them to be able to continue doing what they're doing.
Well, the first thing, and the fun thing is like this, the mental image of this big thing hitting there. They all fall to the ground there, and the first thing you do is scrambling to your feet and go
Mhm. Mhm.
and going for something. Or what do I do? Well, like
Yep.
you're all starting off prone, like so you can't move very far in your initial. It's like half your movement to stand up. Now what are you going to do? And
Mhm.
so Ethan describing them scrapping to their feet or trying to roll back or I'm a monk. Can I do a cool like flip up thing and like yeah, give me an acrobatics check.
Mhm.
Hey, that you succeeded. Cool. You don't burn your movement. You can just and take off.
Right.
So yeah, it's one of those ones. Again, they suggest something that's cool, suggest something that's fun, that uses their abilities. There, I'm all for it, and I might give them a little test just to see if they make sure they don't blow it.
Hmm.
Like, because it's always fun. It's a high pressure situation. So the idea of like, okay, make a roll. DC's like 10, and you have a +8 to the roll. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, you
As long
it's
as you're
one of those
going for
you
two.
you rolled a 2. Okay, well, you do it, but it's a little sloppy, and you kind of scramble away a little bit there. But you managed to pull it off there. You rolled a
Mhm.
1, or you rolled a 20. Okay, I'm gonna give you the extra 5 feet of movement. You can actually move a little
Right.
faster. Yeah, or the cool thing of like, yeah, as you're doing it, the dragon swipes out with its claws, and you roll under it there and pop up and jump off the claw and take off there. Like that's yeah,
Hmm.
anything to kind of bring that cinematic aspect of the game there, make them imagine it there. Which kind of comes into next thing there of like enemies being dynamic and fun, having
Hmm.
like taunting, and if it isn't just like, oh yeah, here's a guy and he's shooting at you, like having them do interesting things as well,
Yep.
like having a loud voice, oh, you're gonna do what I tell you, like I'm gonna kill you all, face my minions or whatever. Anything kind of, if you get a if your players crack a smile, laugh a little bit, or just kind of like whoa, you know you've done your job. It isn't
Yep.
just like a boring encounter of just like, okay, there's a guy in a dark cloak and he shoots you.
Doesn't really
Like
work for
then
adults.
then you're gonna then they're gonna turn around and go, okay, I pull out my bow and I shoot him back.
Right.
Like
Yep.
well, again, model that behavior for them so they get into the effort there. They get into describing their character's actions, maybe using a voice if they want to, um, and just kind of playing in character. If you play your bad guys in character, they're gonna play in character more, and it goes for your NPCs too.
You know,
You know what to do? Yeah,
the wizard inside the caves with the goblins in Found Elver,
yeah,
right?
mm,
So I had described him because the book really doesn't describe who he is or what he looks
yeah,
like, right? It's not very good at that describing factor. So I said he's wearing some dirty clothes. He's trying to fold his laundry and the socks keep running away, which was his familiar inside the socks, right?
sure,
And
sure.
because the familiar is invisible, which is to them they don't understand what that means or how that's supposed to function. So it was he's wearing dirty clothes. He's been down here a hot minute. He's not comfortable. He's folding laundry. And I had one of the people say, well, why is he folding laundry down here? And why does his sock keep running away? I was like, well, why don't you go catch his sock and find out? We could do that? Well,
Hmm.
yeah, of course, why not? So they went and found the sock, and then they reached in to try and grab whatever it was that was in there without checking first because,
Yep.
they
And the
don't
poison
know.
with the poison bites them.
Hmm. Hmm. So I
Hmm.
said, and a rat will bite you on the finger because the book
Hmm.
did describe the familiar as a mouse or rodent type, right?
Sure.
I
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
so a rat bites you on the finger. Well, how do I know it was a rat? Because it's still attached to your finger as you pull your hand out. And they cracked up laughing. The kid who had the bite just screamed and went, I flick it off like, it had a bug on it or something. It goes flying into the air, it hits the wall, and poof, it's gone. Well, where did it go? Well, let's look around and see if we can find where it went. Does he not care? He's doing laundry, he'll be fine. It's
Yep.
getting them in the room with the guy. They don't know what he's doing. They don't know that he's a bad guy. They just know that he's in there doing laundry.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, how many encounters do you have with NPCs who have like a weird voice or a weird name or a weird description or
Hmm.
doing something kind of either mundane or something kind of crazy? And then how do the players react? Like,
Hmm.
or the idea that yes, if they go in there yelling and screaming and clomping around and not being stealthy, they're going to be ready there waiting for them. Like, aha,
Hmm.
jump out at you guys, or send a little ambush in at them. And so they realize there's consequences to how they act as in character and how
Hmm.
they don't act in character. So having those dynamic NPCs and those dynamic enemies really goes a long way in encouraging them to be the same way,
Right.
which is going to set them up for more in the future. If their first game is a chance for them to be weird and crazy and do cool things like that, as they start to play, as they start to run games, maybe later on there, they're going to do the same thing. Um,
Yep.
it's funny. My teens are now. One of
Not so
them's
much
now.
teensy anymore, are they?
Yeah, yeah. They now range from 16, 17 to 20. Um, yeah,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
they're running games for each other now, and they're doing this round robin thing where they're running and they're playing a villain campaign where they were trying to run a dungeon,
Mhm.
which has been hilarious to hear the things that they're doing there, and each person does it a little bit different.
Right.
Um, but it's fun just to hear the kind of things that they're coming up with and the kind of weird encounters they're designing, and the weird enemies and allies they're coming up with. It's a lot of fun. Um, One of the things I'm not going to have too much longer here because I need to cut it a little bit short tonight. But I do want to say one really important factor when working with little younger ones
Mhm.
is in your session zero, teach them the mechanics,
Mhm.
the basics of what here. This die is used for this, and when I say roll this, it's going to be in these situations. Maybe even have them try it out. Like, hey, why don't you go ahead and everyone make me an acrobatics check as this thing happens to you, and as you're all on a ship that's like flopping back and forth, and the wind's blowing here. Ever make an acrobatics check, or you're going to fall off your feet, and they all roll. What do I do? Roll a d20 and find acrobatics there, and add that number or tell me what the number is and I'll add it up for you,
Mhm.
or whatever. So either way, but kind of teaching them the basics of the mechanics. What's a skill check? What is combat roll? What is damage? Um, Beyond just like the numbers there, like describe kind of when pencil, papers, and lots of jam,
Mhm.
jammy hands. Yes. Um, so the idea of like giving them some basic there, having a really simple encounter for them to start off with, where they're going to do a little bit of combat, use a little bit of skills, try casting a spell, and just kind of describe the different things that they're going to be able to do,
Yep.
um, and don't and don't expect them to just get it the first time. They're going to need reminding as you go along there. But if you show them at least
Mhm.
in a session zero, kind of how that works once their characters are there, once they've made a character, and then kind of like, okay, we're gonna have like you guys are all friends. You're starting off walking down a trail in the woods, and some weird little like rock things roll up to you and start like throwing things at you. And what are these things? You don't know yet. Maybe like so. Is anyone smart? Is anyone good with nature? Because you're in the woods right now, looking at the druid or looking at the ranger,
Mhm. Mhm.
like like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I had nature. I'm good at nature. Go ahead and make me a roll there. And say, okay, these are little rock golems, and they basically happen naturally in various places there. They like to throw stones and hit people in the head. Um, they're not super dangerous, but they can hurt. They can hurt a lot. So encounter time. Everyone roll initiative, and so things like that. We use this really simple little like introductory thing to get them going there.
Yep.
My players were had rolled into town together. They knew each other. They were in they were not in a tavern. They were in a cafe that served different kinds of soup because they were all teenagers. So they didn't meet at a tavern. They met at a soup restaurant.
Soup place. I
Yes,
love it.
and
Yeah.
and the guy behind the bar just basically had this really cool looking this massive cool like shiny ladle, and he used to
Mhm.
kind of and he had all kinds of different kinds of soup, and I made up all kinds of weird types of soup there, and they all had to pick the kind of soup they wanted, and then some skeletons broke in through the doors and the windows and started attacking, and so they had to beat up the skeletons.
Yep.
So,
I had
but
I had the one thing in session zero where they were asking, "Are you going to kill my character?" Well, I
yeah,
had that conversation of going, well, firstly, I don't kill your character. You and your party are supposed to work together to make sure you have a cleric in the group and they understand their whole goal is to make sure that you don't die, right?
hmm
But no, I'm not actively going to go out and make that monster continue to hit you, knowing that you're low on health points, knowing that the cleric is coming up next, because that's just mean, right? I
yeah.
don't want to be that type of person for you. I want you to learn how to do it. Also, I want you to understand that sometimes the consumables that you have in your backpack, i.e., a health potion, is something you can absolutely do on your turn instead of attacking the monster that's been hitting you,
hmm
right? Because sometimes
yeah.
living longer to be able to kill the thing is also better than just trying to kill it right outright because you may miss,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
Well,
that's
they
a hard
mhm,
conversation because kids
it
don't like
is.
their characters dying. They don't like
No,
having the game over button.
yeah. One thing I did so in my campaign, I didn't have any instant death rules.
No.
So, I also, essentially, what I did a lot of was like anyone that dropped a zero just went unconscious.
Mhm.
Actually, they just kind of fell down essentially, and I didn't do the thing of like, but yeah, they had a bard in the party who had healing word. They had a cleric in the party.
Mhm.
They all had healing potions. They also had a druid in the party.
Mhm.
So like the only person that didn't have healing spell casting was the pure rogue, and they had a backpack full of healing potions, so they made sure they got so everyone
Husbands.
everyone yes everyone was able to heal somebody if they needed to or heal themselves if they needed to. So um, that's one of those things of having a way that A, they can heal, A, they aren't just going to be instantly killed by something. Even something that smacks them there. And I didn't describe any hits as a horrible thing. Even it was like, okay, you have 15 hit points and you just took 12 of them in this one hit. I
Mhm.
might say you got knocked back. You got hit really hard there. You feel something go kind of crunch a little bit there, and you get stumbling back out away from the guy there. And I actually moved them out of combat a little bit, so the guy couldn't just follow up and smash them.
Right.
Um, and that's the whole thing was like I kind of did a lot of those things where I described actions that were significant, but not like, oh, he takes your head off.
Right.
Like, no. Um, it was a lot of like, yes, you've been shot. It hurts a lot. Oh my gosh. So what are you gonna do about that? It's like, well, so comes right up there. I'm gonna cast cure wounds on them. So, and
Right.
of course, the cleric eventually started doing this. Like, I run up and yank out the arrow and then cap your wound. Like, oh god, that hurts a lot, but it feels better now. You're not bleeding. Okay, like stop doing that. Stop
Yeah.
getting shot.
Stop getting shot. Those who stand
Yeah,
in the fire shall not be healed,
yeah.
says
I mean,
every cleric
so
everywhere.
yeah, so yeah, it comes down to like your players are eventually going to get into that habit of things like that. And so as long as you're going off the bat of just like I'm going to crush you, um, I get knocked down when I use my having gun up again. Yes. Exactly
All
now.
right, Chubba
Um, yes, we uh we get knocked down a lot,
Yes.
depending on who we are. Um so yeah, it and that's something in your session zero you can talk about that, saying I'm not gonna flat out take you out in a hit. I'm not like you're gonna get hit. Monsters are gonna attack you, you're gonna get shot, you're gonna get stabbed, you're gonna get fireballed, whatever else. Things are gonna happen. Um what you can do things to make it harder to get hurt. Like here are some things you can think about, like taking cover, not running up and jumping on top of the dragon's face, um,
Right.
not standing in the fire when he breathes on the ground there and there's a fire thing there,
Mhm.
not standing in an obvious trap. Uh, like so, there's things they can do to prevent that taking some damage that they can kind of think about. But even then, I kind of told them like I'm not gonna flat out kill your character in a hit.
Right.
You're always gonna have opportunities to get healed up or survive the fight. Maybe you're still unconscious at the end of the fight there. Um, think, disengage, and well. Um,
Run
Run
away.
away. Exactly. Get away from the thing. It's like
Mhm.
now in some cases, after a while, you get enough hit points. You're like, I can take a hit from this thing. Why not? Um, or you're the tank, and your blue paladin runs in there and just takes it in the face. Um,
She was supposed
uh,
to. That
yeah.
was the goal.
Unfortunately, that no one else kind of helped
Yeah.
out the
It's
helped out
okay.
to prevent you from. Yeah. So
It's okay.
but anyway, but
She
that's one of the
survived.
like too is that becomes a tactical thing of like, hey, I this person always got taken out because we didn't go grab them,
Mhm.
or I didn't use my heal when I could have, um, or I decided to do this instead of that, and so again, it may be that. And the last thing I want to mention with my kids' games especially is talking about kind of that what happened ahead of time, what happened afterwards, and kind of and kind
Mhm.
of having them ask questions, having them, what was the coolest moment of the game at the end? So, and everyone had to pick a moment in the game there that was really cool for them,
Right.
or at the beginning of the game there, what's something that happened last week you want to follow up on, or what's something cool you would like to have happen in the future, um, like based on what you've seen so far, or what's your theory of what's really going on here, and just getting everyone's ideas. The fun thing was is that I actually did that one time where they all gave ideas of what was actually happening,
Mhm.
and I picked one of them to be right.
Oh, you're evil.
Because I'm like, well, because it could have gone different ways, and I think I had the plot had something there, but I'm like, you know what? That's a cool idea. I'm going
Mhm.
to write that
Mhm.
down, and I'm going to use that as right there. And then when it came time that they were right, they're like, oh my god, I was right, and it's this cool moment of like, I
Mhm.
was right. That was really cool.
Right.
Um, so
The
yeah,
putting it all together bit is my favorite bit, whether they be kids or adults. It is my favorite bit when I can see, like, I could see the wheels moving the entire time, and then all of a sudden the light bulb goes off and it's
hmm
like, yep, you got it, you know what you're doing
yep,
now.
yep,
And now it's just a straight line of how do you accomplish the thing, you know what you're supposed to be doing. All the red
yep,
herrings are gone. There's a direct path. How do you get to the end now, right?
yep, yep. Now, I would say now in a kids game, I'm never going to throw a finger of death at my kids.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
um, so yeah, I would not do something like that. Replacement character, first time in the game, that player finger of death. Um, yeah,
No, not
it's
for the kiddos.
yeah. And typically, I mean, I think my kids game. I mean, granted, we played for well over a year.
Hmm.
Um, so they weren't really they were getting out of the kid range. They've been playing for a while. So when they were, I think they were like seventh or eighth level when we got to when we got the end there from like level one,
Hmm.
in well over a year. And they were about to fight some pretty big things. They had some pretty big encounters, but nothing was like utterly ridiculous. But
You wouldn't throw a
at that
Jurassic
point,
at them, Jim? Come on.
no, definitely not. That's for the very last fight. No, no, they were fighting some giants in their last encounter, which was pretty
Giants
pretty
can
cool.
be
Yeah,
giants can be
that's
pretty
that. Yeah,
brutal,
yeah,
especially at level
yeah,
8.
yeah. So it was one of the, I didn't. Essentially, they had to go out and rescue some people that had been dropped. Some giants were attacking, and some soldiers had fallen. They rushed out to help the soldiers, and so they ended up taking out one of the giants, and so it was cool to see there. And
Very
so
cool.
yeah, yeah, they were pretty tough at that point. Um, but that's the thing is that by that point they have a better idea of what they can do, how tough they are, what they can handle, what they can't.
Mhm.
Um, Things that they may not have been able to do in their first like month or so playing, but after a year of playing, they're going to get better at that. They're going to figure that out, and they're also going to at some point on the way there, they may decide it's not for them. They may
Right.
decide it's not very fun, and that's okay. If a player wants to, if one of the kids in the game is like, I don't know, or then try to bring in somebody new, or just scale it down to fewer players. Whatever you need to do there.
Yep. Yep.
Um, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
All right. Well,
yeah.
what are some rules that you followed to get prepped and ready to go?
What do you mean?
So, when I was doing it, I did some research. You and I both found Common Core. That's not
Hmm.
what it's called. That's what I
Critical
call it.
critical core.
Critical
Critical
core.
core. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you both found that. I believe you
Hmm.
showed it to me.
Yeah.
And then I found some sources from teachers that were teaching it
Yeah.
in their classrooms, and I was like, that's a
Yeah.
really cool. Okay, I can meld that in. It
Yeah.
helps with the rule setting because it also is something they're doing in school, so
Hmm.
I need it to be done here too. I'm not your
Hmm.
teacher, but it's the same respect level, right?
Yeah.
So, I found some websites and I'll probably drop them in the chat somewhere once the video gets
Yeah.
posted so that we can have that up there. Some of the things. Yep,
Still have it here.
you got that one there.
Yep. Yep. Um, the thing about it is you can find. Oh shoot! Dang it! Left something over there. Um, the thing about that is it really talks about the encounter. It has a full adventure path,
Mhm.
which I ran my kids through. Um, Really fun, really interesting. kind of cool twists and turns to it there. Very good adventure path there. But each of the encounters was designed with certain skills a person would need, interpersonal skills or problem solving skills. And it gave a lot of hints as to how to encourage players to do that. So if you can find some of that online there, I think the company that created it went out, either went out of business, but I believe the materials are still available. Kids TT RPG, I believe it's called now. I was looking for it the other day. Um, but the idea of like finding something it's more designed for kids with special needs, autism and things like that. So how people that have struggle with social encounters. Um, but it's also great just for teaching and learning gaming,
Hmm.
designing encounters and different ways to do encounters. So I do highly recommend looking at something like that if you're having kids that's really struggling with everything there. But the main thing is just with kids, it's just being flexible, being open, letting them figure things out, not being overly punishing for making mistakes because they're going to make mistakes. They're not going to know the best way to go. Um, Having the stakes be like significant, but not just like now. Granted, I say that there, and the adventure they're talking about, they actually saved the world. Um, from a terrible fate, which was great there. But it built up to that slowly. It was
Right.
a really good pacing over that there, and finding out, oh, this is part of that. Oh, this is going to lead us here. And so seeing how the story progressed and unfolded as they went along was a really fun thing for them to put together and figure out. And
Hmm.
so. And even where it went from there, it was really cool to see what they decided to do after they saved the world. Um, and kind of going from that direction there. So, um, yeah, I highly recommend like finding something that's designed more for kids and young players there, rolling them through Curse of Strahd with a bunch of 6 year olds, not going to happen.
Not when
Um,
adults can't handle it because their character dies
no,
every freaking level.
exactly. So really look at the subject matter you're going for. Look at the maturity level of your kids,
Hmm.
um, and and play to that. Like really, you don't need to make some like terrible thing here. Make it a silly adventure. They're trying to save puppies from an evil cat overlord who's got a big cape and a weird voice, um, and he's not trying to kill the puppies. He's trying to drive them all away with strange treats and lure them off into a forest,
Right.
so they get lost. I mean, things like that. Think about what's going to appeal to a younger audience. What's going to appeal to and you're going to learn that over time with your kids too. What appeals to them? What are they having fun with? What are they not having fun with?
Just listen
And
to them.
really tailoring. Yeah. And you know what? It's ask. I mean, same thing with your adult players. Like ask them, but with the
Hmm.
kids one, like, what do you want to see? What kind of thing do you see? What what kind of enemy do you want to run into next, or what kind of enemies might
Hmm.
be out there that you want to see in the world? And it's like let them add their own ideas to the world and play off of them.
Hmm.
So yeah, so uh, kids are kids are can be incredibly creative, incredibly goofy and weird, and it makes for some really fun role playing games. So I highly recommend if you ever have a chance running for kids, running for younger folks there, and kind of bringing in our next generation
Hmm.
to, to the hobby. Um, well, that's about all I got for today. I need to take off here pretty soon, but do you have anything you want to throw in there at the end?
No, I'm good. We'll drop those links, at least the ones that I found,
Perfect.
down in
Yeah,
there afterward.
yeah, and I'll see if I can find any. Yeah, I'll see which ones you have there, and if I can find the other ones there.
Hmm.
There's a lot of like essays and things on how to engage kids in role playing. There's a lot of fun stuff out there.
Yep.
So, yeah. But anyway, thank you for this topic was brought up by Dan. So this was her idea. So as we decided to talk about today. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Um, Anyone out watching there now, and anyone else that's out there listening now in the future, if you have any ideas or things you want to see in a future episode, please go ahead and give us uh, some suggestions, either in the comments on the video um, or on our Discord server there. The link is there to join the Discord server.
Hmm.
So feel free to stop by, check out the games we have, and check out the games we're going to be coming up here. Um, I got 2 more spots for my game. So, yeah, I need 2 more players, and they'll be ready to start running my game in the next couple of weeks. So, but anyway, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Hmm.
Um, if there's anything else you want to see, let us know. And stop by the tavern. Drinks are on us. We'll see you again real soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.